I'll see how far this video goes, but it'll start off as a response video to Smiling Andy. He's apparently made his last, for a little while, depression and anti-natalism video, called it The Verdict 100, video 100. So paraphrasing his videos, it's mostly an attack on Benatar for being a psychotic, cult-leading depressive who doesn't know the value of what he considers to have value, which is the joke here, right? I mean, he'll use the word value when it's to his advantage, when he thinks there's things people should value in life. But if people value something different than him, they're wrong in that circumstance. But when it's to his convenience, there's no such thing as value. I mean, well, whatever. There's no point in making the argument before the video, I suppose. But I haven't watched it yet, so we'll see what it is. But it's no doubt going to be crap. I did see My Misery and Me, so apparently it has something to do with it all being opinion. Yeah, it's just an opinion. Yeah, we can say that about every single thing in the universe, just about, right? To some extent, it's an opinion, but it's an opinion based on facts. There's credible opinions and less credible opinions. So again, this is just pointless. It's like calling all value judgments the same. I mean, I'll make the argument here. I mean, you know, there's a huge difference between having an argument with somebody about plain potato chips versus potato chips with ridges. It's completely a subjective thing. It's really hard to come up with an objective list of facts that demonstrate that ridged potato chips are somehow better. They both have their unique character. They're both potato chippy, so you might make the argument maybe you get a half ounce more with one bag, and that would be persuasive to me. You know, which one gives you more potato. But regardless, you know, that's just a bullshit argument. Now, if we're going to argue about whether rape is right or wrong, now isn't that going to be a distinctly different argument? It's really not about some sort of subjective crap. It's about intellectual thoughts and understandings of what's happening, what's the event actually represent. It's not about, we're not talking about your sister being raped, we're just talking about any woman. We're just talking about a fact. Or vegetarianism or these other subjects. These aren't arguments about subjective emotional taste matters of taste. They're arguments about what we understand reality to be. And there's a distinct difference, and you're smart enough to know that there are distinctly different qualities of belief system. Some are grotesquely silly, and some are well-tested theory, and it's just idiotic to throw them all in the same category and just say they're just opinions. No, that's just so bogus, buddy.
100. Well, it's been a bit of a road, but I've enjoyed every second of it.
So you've enjoyed a conversation that centers around the idea of wasted suffering in the world, billions of squandered existences in a sense, this idea of imposition, of basically birthing people to forced march for grotesque imbeciles who should never have the right to reproduce in the first place. They wouldn't be given the right by any rational intelligence. They only have a right because a DNA molecule doesn't care how dumb its host is, you know, and that entertains you. So I guess that's part of the problem right there. The very fact that this conversation would entertain you, a conversation about this vulnerability, our mortality, how difficult life can be, how painful it can be. That entertains you. Yeah, I'd say that's telling right there. It's just telling right in the beginning. We're already at a huge impasse because I can't for the life of me understand how that could be entertaining. It's like, you know, I mean, there have been shows made about, you know, hospital dramas and all that stuff, and I have to frankly say I just don't get it. I don't get war comedies. I don't get a lot of things that don't make a hell of a lot of sense. And it doesn't make any sense that you're entertained by this glib conversation that involves the welfare of other people, and you just glibly, you know, and mockingly minimize and tarnish and spit upon the circumstance of that pain with your, well, just kill yourself kind of crap.
I guess it's time for me to sort of look back and see where I've come, what I've learned. And generally, my view of the antinatalist phenomenon is that, for what it's worth, and I doubt many antinatalists are terribly worried about my opinion, it is, at best, an opinion.
At best, just an opinion. So it barely even qualifies for being called an opinion, right? A philosophy held by people like Jack Kevorkian, Mark Twain, Schopenhauer, you know. Yeah, go ahead and trivialize all of us, you know, and argue that somehow we haven't made coherent arguments, that we haven't put things on the table that you still haven't answered. Just simple thought experiments. Like, what exactly would you expect from a Frankenstein monster in that circumstance? You know, I mean, you should just sit around and just say, let Dr. Frankenstein continue making Frankensteins. No problem. You know, you haven't dealt with anything, any of the substance of the argument, the whole idea of the imposition. You just ignore the fact that these words even exist. You basically eviscerated the idea of harm. I mean, it's just insane lengths you've gone to. You've destroyed concepts like imposition and harm to convolute and pervert the universe so you can make some kind of response. And then you're going to say something, it's just an opinion. Well, it's just an opinion that provoked you into doing something so preposterous that in future videos, if you commentate on anything, and you ever say the word harm or value, you're going to look like a complete ass. And maybe somebody will point out your hypocrisy, or maybe they'll play your old video and just point out, well, wait a minute, this is what this guy said about harm before. Why is this harm somehow important and the harm he was talking about before wasn't? Why is this imposition possible when he didn't think it was an imposition to do that? So if you have already established, you have built yourself a foundation from which you can talk about nothing. All right, you're dead in the water in terms of having a conversation about anything else meaningful in existence, because you have so desperately destroyed all reasonable premises in your preposterous effort to attempt to debunk this opinion. And you're going to say it's just an opinion. Yeah, pretty lame, buddy.
It's a value judgment placed upon existence itself.
Well, duh. I mean, duh. So you came to that conclusion. It says better never to have been. Yes, it's a value judgment, quite obviously. Quite obviously, the philosophy is built on arriving at a value understanding. The whole asymmetry has got value judgment written all over it. So, wow, what an observation.
And as value judgments are just value judgments, it's...
Okay, that doesn't say much, does it? Value judgments are just value judgments. Right, so if you ever in the future make any video where you imply that something is wrong or bad behavior or would be better suited if we didn't do that, the guy can just make the argument. Well, you said value judgments are just value judgments, so my value judgments are as good as yours. You have no merit in making any comparisons or judgments. You won't allow reason to be part of the argument because they're all subjective. So again, you can't say anything about anything ever again. You're completely broken as a rational argumentator.
Arguable. I don't think it's possible to debunk it. I don't think it's possible to even win anyone over from an antinatalist position. That's, again, just like coming to antinatalism. Leaving antinatalism is something that only the individual can do for his or herself.
Oh, well, there are people that do vacillate, okay, based on their personal emotional circumstances. So with any There's always people that hold beliefs for different reasons. But I mean, it's obviously not a conclusion you reach casually or superficially. It's so opposite in intuition and every other cultural standard. So obviously you don't ever migrate to such a belief system for no reason. You must have pretty strong reason to gravitate to a truth like that.
It's telling that David Benatar's book, Better Never to Have Been, The Harm of Coming into Existence, starts off with an adjective, which is better, which is the ultimate value judgment. Better, worse.
It's just about the most basic function of logic is to make those value judgments. That's what logic does. It takes two statements and it says which one is better, and it just keeps improving the statement by comparison. That's the function of logic. It's the function of computers and smartphones, and everything functions based on this principle of comparison. Oh, amazing statement. Just amazing. Value judgments is foundational to existence.
It's just an adjective that places value on certain things, as it were, arbitrarily.
Well, you said arbitrarily. Now, again, that's just... It's an outrageous statement from anybody who wants to have any rational credibility. It isn't arbitrarily. It's all, the whole book explains exactly why that definition is what it is. I mean, it's just idiotic to say arbitrary. It's based on this idea that the harm has the greater weight, and that the harm is created out of deprivation anyway, the pleasures that you're pursuing. And that's why the harm is acceptable, and that's because the organism is built that way. And he talks about the bias, and he talks about all this stuff, and you just don't pay any attention to those very lucid arguments. Like you just proved here. It's not arbitrary. He didn't just pull it out of a hat.
It places value judgments on existence itself. It presents itself, David Benatar's book,
Well, existence itself, by rational understanding, is abiogenesis and evolution. You don't think that's a process that can be judged? Well, of course it can. All right? The asteroid hitting Earth and annihilating the dinosaurs could be judged. Well, was that a good event for evolution of life on Earth, or a bad event? Was the short-term pain of the dinosaurs worth the long-term gain of the mammals? These are questions that can be asked. Whether they can be answered coherently is another issue, but I'm just saying these are rational questions to ask.
It's the argument as logical and reasonable and rational and philosophical, but it's loaded down with value judgments.
Loaded down with value judgments. It's loaded down with simple premises. Now, you're going to disagree with the premises if you have. You stated that you don't think harm means much, and you think a box of chocolate mean everything. A wonderful, the chocolate-coated cherry is just the most magnificent little thing, and your little glass of brandy, and your quiet music, and your little meowy cat, and this is to you such a beautiful, fantastic moment, like maybe when you see a few stars through the skylight in of your roof. And this to you is such a magnificent experience that, yes, you would accept a 6-year-old kid having cancer for it. And Benatar and me and a lot of other people would say, wait a minute, when I calculate this out, yeah, that crap is just chasing an idiotic desire. That's like me watching a baseball team win the World Series and say, yay, our side won, and not recognizing the fact that, oh yeah, that means that all those other teams, those 30 other teams, all lost. Yeah, like we created a whole bunch more losers than we did winners, and maybe I shouldn't be happy.
And appeals to emotion and all that.
Yeah, right. You're just loaded with appeals to emotion. Your whole argument is veiled in this emotional stoicism, this idea that we're endeavoring to persevere kind of crap. You're preying on people's egos. You're calling essentially anybody who's defeatist a loser.
All that sort of baggage that comes with rhetorical language. I don't think it's possible not to have rhetorical language or emotional language in such a debate. Is like,
well, I think it's quite possible, but yeah, you did nothing to foster anything else but derogatory, insulting, hostile, nasty debate. You started off right there, anti-natalism and depression. You chose to slander a belief system, just as if I had associated two subjects like natalism and pink balloon chasing, or happy juice, or some other bullshit derogatory statement. It's a statement in itself, and it deserves, it provokes defensive ridicule.
worth living, because that's an inherently value-based or value-laden question. You can't ask someone for an opinion and then sort of hold it against them that they express one.
Well, no one's holding it against it. You didn't express an opinion. You slandered and then hobbled and attacked everybody who held the belief. You called them cultists and depressives. You said the only membership they're attracting are depressives. You said a lot of things that are not fair, not accurate, and slanderous. And then you're expecting some kind of civil conversation. You asked for nothing less than what you got. Or nothing more, however the right way to say that is.
And I'm not judging anyone for that. But as I say, it is nothing more than a value judgment. It is an opinion.
Well, whatever. I mean, like any intellectual who says this is meaningful to somebody, this should be meaningful to somebody, we should just put everything in the same class. Everything's a value judgment. So if you're making an argument for vegetarianism, it's just a value judgment. If you're making an argument against rape or some other slavery, it doesn't matter what it is. It's just a value judgment. Okay, and we can say that it's just the same thing as having an argument about what color is the best color for cars. What color should we just go out and do a popularity poll and we'll just find out what the best color for cars is, and we'll call that the same thing as making determinations and judgments about, say, if we're going to invest money on malaria, whether we should spend the money on the victims of malaria or whether we should spend the money on a cure. And we shouldn't think that that's a little different kind of a value judgment than the value judgment about, you know, whether you like mini skirts or culottes.
My beliefs are just as much an opinion as anyone else's. My view of the whole thing is just a value judgment. My view of antinatalism is a value judgment.
Well, exactly. You're the one with this arbitrary, I don't like it kind of statement. You don't make an argument. You don't address any of the arguments made by the anti-natalist. You just slander them with some sort of you're a depressive, you're a pessimist, and you're satisfied with just saying that's as far as this conversation needs to go. So you'll call you optimist, we'll call us pessimist, and then we won't have a conversation. Bravo, brilliant. Sorry, fail all over the place.
I freely admit that. Does antinatalism come off looking like a religion? It certainly does.
Well, from your perspective, well, right. You can't qualify that with anything. Dogma, you have none of that. There's no organization. There's no effort to manipulate or steal money. There's no deception. There's no manipulation of naivete. I mean, it's exactly the opposite. You really, to be a functional anti-natalist, you're going to have to endure a lot of scrutiny from people. So yeah, none of that fits. But your side, yeah, I can point to your silly response videos from your type of person, the vacant, synthetic, cheap responses, the 4-minute videos saying I'm going to describe life in less than 4 minutes, gutless, amazingly gutless. The lack of any kind of direct contextual statement. Do you believe in abiogenesis? Do you believe in evolution? A bunch of veiled secret religions behind the scenes. Kant, little hidden Kants. Yeah, come on. Who's playing the game, buddy?
My perspective, with my limited contact with antinatalists and antinatalist literature and thinking.
Yeah, limited contact. I mean, you didn't even read the book. You just quote mined the argument. And again, you don't listen to the counter arguments because, well, somebody called you a fucker, so therefore you don't listen. So, I mean, your limitations, that sounds like a religion to me. Somebody's afraid of words. Well, yeah, that sounds like a religious kook to me.
And the main one is the prickly sort of defensiveness that one gets when dealing with at least the YouTube anti-natalist subculture.
Oh yeah, right. Come on, like you're not going to get the same kind of prickliness on a million political subjects you could talk about. The same kind of campishness. Are they all cults? You know, is capitalism a cult? Is people who defend Social Security, are they cult members? I mean, this is just such crap as an argument.
It's difficult to find antinatalists anywhere else apart from YouTube. Not that I really look very hard, but the fact that, generally speaking, people making cases for YouTube antinatalism are generally extremely dismissive and denigrating towards anyone else's beliefs in anything, and denigrating and derogatory towards everyone.
Yeah, whatever. That's right. That's right. Because it's traditionally anti-religion, anti a lot of things, and that's basically the start of this thing. And yeah, there needs to be dismissiveness. That's sort of the conclusion. It's the world should really have its fill of religious assholes, silly people who believe in fables and myths and nonsense. You little balloon-chasing Looney Tunes with your unicorns and your Gaia and your other crap, your made-up religions. And yeah, there's a certain point where the world has been destroyed enough by you assholes, and it's time that people fought back. And that voice is getting louder and louder. And you can pretend that it's just some tiny minority, but it's not a minority that's not growing. And I think once this gets fair exposure, you're going to lose the argument, decidedly.
Everything. I think that it's a bit bizarre that people should get defensive whenever antinatalism is attacked, but it does seem to be that that's the case.
Well, it's not getting attacked by a rational argument. It's getting attacked by a slander. Oh, I'm an anti-natalist because I'm personally depressed. You know, that's your argument. And I'm depressed for not any good reason. I'm not depressed because I'm living in a stupid world and I've recognized the stupidity. I'm not depressed because I can't stomach the injustice of the world. No, I'm depressed because what? I didn't get enough chocolate ice cream today. That's your insinuation, asshole. And it's a bullshit insinuation. Any philosophy that's all negative, you're going to taint it with this idea of you're a depressive. All right? That's your basic function. All right? Is there any negative human, anti-human, anti-future existence philosophy that could possibly exist? Anybody who figured it out on a piece of paper that doom is inevitable, you know, that there's no way for us to escape our destruction. Anybody who does that, anything negative, you're just going to put them in this category, and you're going to call that a fair argument. Well, I call it a completely bogus argument. There is negative in the world. You're saying there isn't any because life itself doesn't contain it. Life itself is so redeeming and so glowy and so sparkly and so purposeful that there's no possibility that the whole thing could be made out of maggots. I mean, it's just a bullshit argument. And anybody who sees flaw in it is going to be critiqued by this simple accusation, you're a depressive. I mean, it's just so bogus that you've just declared the victory of your position as if there's no such thing as excessive optimism. I mean, what a pile of crap.
And again, that inevitably points to some sort of fanaticism or emotional investment in the whole thing, which is fine, again.
Yeah, well, if people can't get emotionally invested in subjects relating to harm, the suffering of human beings, the suffering of animals. I mean, if they can't get emotionally invested in that, what exactly are they supposed to be emotionally invested in? Oh, that's right. Let's kill the Yankee fans because I'm a Red Sox fan. Right? That's what people should be emotionally invested in? Or maybe Google Corporation. Some people are saying nasty things about Google Corporation. Let's go save the reputation of the corporation. That's what they should be emotionally invested in? I mean, come on. Well, I mean, this is just almost ludicrous, right? The most important subject in the world, the creation of life and the end of life. These are the most important subjects in the world. How you take life, how you force life on something, or give life. And you're going to sit there and say people shouldn't be emotionally invested. Amazing.
Again, it does end up, whether it likes it or not, looking like a religion.
Yeah, whatever. It doesn't look anything like a religion to anybody who's rational, okay? So if you think it looks like a religion, I'm telling you, you're not being fair, you're not rational, you're not a straight-up person. You're a petty weasel, and it's a silly gear in your head that sees that, because there's absolutely no comparison. There's no dogma from a god. There's no controlling of the membership. There's no manipulation. There's no propaganda. Find me the propaganda, find me the manipulation, and then you can make your argument. But none of it's there, so it can't be labeled as a religion. It's upfront, in your face philosophy. I mean, it's just, it can't be any more honest and in your face.
And by the same token, anyone would say that perhaps about the points of view that I've put across.
Yeah, so then what's the frickin' point of your argument, right? If you're going to negate it by saying, well, somebody could legitimately just call me as much a propagandist, well, there you go. But I don't think that's true. You're obviously a propagandist. Obviously a propagandist, and we're not. So you've just made the... You're now doing the typical psychological manipulation, the liar-type argument, where you make the accusation and then make a half accusation about yourself, attempting to neutralize the accusation that that's a false accusation. So now you've legitimized the accusation by turning it on yourself, but obviously when you pointed the gun at yourself, there's no bullets in it, right? So yeah, just more tactic, more ploy, more propaganda. That's what that's called, asshole. It's called propaganda.
No effort to even hide the religious imagery that I use in my own way of...
Yeah, that's right. Your own way of propagandizing. Yeah, exactly. You know, you're tainted with all kinds of religion, and yet you'll sit there and point your finger and dare accuse somebody else of it when they haven't tainted any of their stuff with any dogma or religion or presuppositions based on the primitive arguments. They're using evolution as a foundation, using scientific facts as the foundation and premise for their argument, and you're the one completely dependent on old jargon.
Describing what I...
cliches.
I won't really say beliefs, but my sort of tools and metaphors for trying to figure out reality.
Oh, yeah, right. Try to figure out reality. Is that what you're doing on YouTube? Is that what you're doing? You're trying to figure out reality? No, I don't think that's what you're doing at all. I think you're just a propagandist for a hedonistic, self-serving philosophy that benefits yourself. You use it to actualize your own life, to justify and rationalize your own crap, and you're looking for people to merely endorse that philosophy. And so you found enough, and they'll support you and defend you in your nihilistic, self-serving, hedonistic, gluttonous piggery. Bravo!
So I'm not saying that I'm any different from anti-natalists, but again, at the end of the day, it's an opinion, it's a value judgment.
Well, what's the point of that? Again, they're all equally qualified. So that's all you're basically again trying to turn it like it's equal, like somehow somebody didn't fire the first bullet, like somebody didn't, like he didn't rape the woman, she somehow asked for it. I mean, these are just bullshit rationalizations where you attempt to neutralize everything when you've lost, and that's the reason why you're trying to neutralize it. It's like just like somebody saying they're losing the game and they accidentally put their elbow on the game board and tip it over. You're just cheating the argument because you can't make the argument.
Better never to have been says that and admits it from the very first word.
Well, whatever. That's not exactly true. Again, the book is about defending an argument. It doesn't just say it's all subjective and doesn't mean anything and it's just my opinion. No, it says here's the argument and the evidence seems pretty conclusive. So that is another lie, buddy.
Thank you.
Yeah, whatever. So anyway, nice try, but no sale again. And like I said, I'll be curious to see where you make any future relevant arguments about anything, because you have declared it inappropriate to make value judgments. So I don't know how you could opine on any subject in the future without somebody just taking direct quotes from your videos and just pointing out how the fuck is it, what's this double standard about, Andy? I mean, you're just a glaring hypocrite. Is that all they're supposed to conclude? Because your hypocrisy will be that. It will be glaring. So good luck with that, buddy. Yeah, so probably, I mean, there are other comments I want to respond to, but I really don't got a ton of time and, you know, a half-hour video. So anyway, big news is, I'll put this on the end of the video. Yeah, today was Karina Day. Yeah, Karina was over, you know, this afternoon. And it was really, okay, guys. There was, she was chaperoned, okay, so, you know. But anyway, you know, it was a nice day. I'm actually going to be part of that documentary thing she's working on, editing, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, it was sort of work part of the day. But anyway, it was good, and such. So eventually I'll post some bits and pieces or whatever I can pull off of whatever cameraing I got of it that doesn't trespass upon the content and, well, whatever. I don't even know when I'll get around to it, but, you know, it's eventually pieces will dribble onto the website. So anyway, but it was really nice and such. I'm really tired. People suck. Yeah, they just... Yeah, there was no way I could say it without it sounding wrong, but yes, I lose something in the experience, but not in that way. But anyway, so yeah, I'm really exhausted. So anyway, till next time. No, I got, you know, who knows when. I just got, I have so much that has to get done and so little time to do it. Anyway, till next time. Nah, I guess I'll post this on YouTube, so I'll make it an update video. Might as well, because it's the last Andy video, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I have done a couple of these stupid comment videos. It's about the determinism subject. I think they're getting to the point. The guy who made the comments that provoked these videos has made more comments, so I'll probably make a third version of that. But I might try to do that more often, you know, comment videos. Guerrilla stuff. So these are all determinism, bodybuilders, bodybuilding, which I thought was a good title because it just you can read it many different ways, you know, because Nick's term, the modern mystic, was that we're basically nobodies because of determinism. Determinism makes us nobodies because we are all just the universing. And but the thing is that our you know, we do have a body, and this mechanism essentially builds these bodies. I mean, the determinism, the universe has built bodies. It hasn't not built them. Eddies are the thing it creates. The stream wouldn't have any interest at all if all the water just went in straight lines down the stream. The stream, it's the eddies that are the parts that have the something to them, okay? They're not doing something that's not deterministic, but they're the thing where the action takes place, where the friction is, where the change is, where the distinctions are, the differences. And those have to be acknowledged as realities. And it's also just very defeating to call us non-entities. We are entities, and we do make things happen. Deterministically. We don't make them happen, but the happenings happen through us, and we're an us. We're a complexification, and there's just no reason in saying we're not using, because we are. But anyway, so these are all determinism videos, but they're all pretty good. The what the fuck from Saturday, I don't remember what that was. Stickam, got like 6 hours of that. These are all good videos, though. I think this one was Silly Words. I think that was a good video. I don't remember. Damn it. I wish I could remember these exactly, but these were some good videos. This was a good video. Should them needing should-ing. Yeah, so that's more on the determinism thing. So it's really just the, you know, Andy and Professor and modern mystic. And mostly, yeah, this is the last YouTube video. So it started off with this value video, but yeah, there's good videos in there. Alright, I didn't do a very good job of paraphrasing the videos, but they're all winners. One, two, you know, it's like 8, 10, 11 videos. Yeah, so 11 videos since the last update. But yeah, there's some good shit in there. Yeah, I think this gorilla one was good. I really do. But maybe it's this one was. These were okay. This one was almost better. The pre-video was almost better than the video. These are good videos. Anyway. Yeah, till next time. And such.